What's up guys, JNO here, and welcome to another The Next on the FM Scout channel. Now today we're going to look for someone that I had the pleasure of watching again when I was younger, one of my favourite strikers from when I was a youth, which seems a long time ago now, and that man is Alan Shearer. Now I'm going to bring his stats up for you now, and this is what I'm going to be working off of to find the next Alan Shearer in Football Manager 2016. Now as we can see, his stats are as follows when he was 25, and this is a Championship Manager screenshot from 1996. That's right, I've managed to find a screenshot from Championship Manager 96, 97. At this point of time he was 25 and had 28 appearances for England with 10 goals, which is a pretty good record. As we can see, his main stats were aggression of 18, determination of 20, intelligence of 15, off the ball of 16, shooting of 20, set pieces 15, stamina 16, and strength of 17. Now personally I would have maybe put his technique a bit higher because I think he could really strike a ball, and despite the fact he may not have been great at dribbling and all that kind of stuff, I think his actual technique for stuff like passing and shooting was actually pretty good. Heading is another one I'd have probably put higher than 14. I think he was very good in the air, so I think heading of 14 is underselling him a bit. And dribbling of 5, I know he wasn't a great dribbler, but 5 is really low for a Premiership quality striker. So anyway, let's go into the game and see if we can find any player that is similar in stats to this screenshot of Alan Shearer. So our first save is at the 19th of May 2020, and as you can see I've already built a short list of strikers that have similar stats. Person at the top with the most amount of goals scored at 25 is Romelu Lukaku. Now he's 27 years old at 2020. I think a lot of people forget how young he actually is, and if you look at those stats, I think in this save at least we are looking at a very good Alan Shearer-like player. Now his best role on duty are target man, complete forward, advanced forward and poacher, which I think if you were going to pick roles for Alan Shearer, you'd probably pick very similar roles. His finishing is at 16, heading at 17, which I personally think Shearer was very good at. Long shots at 15, which is pretty impressive for Lukaku. Penalty taken at 17. His technique is at 14. Anticipation is very high for a striker, which is good. Determination at 16, which is good. Off the ball is 15, which is good as well. As you can notice, I'm just saying good about most of the stats that we're actually looking at. And stamina and strength, his strength is up there. Unfortunately, his stamina could just be a little better. But he's got the height and the weight, and is definitely the type of player that I'd say is very similar to Alan Shearer at his prime. At the moment he's valued at 32 million, he's gone to Tottenham and he's earning 86,000 a week. If we look at his overall club stats, 42 appearances, 25 goals, 4 assists and an average rating of 7.08, and he's actually managed to win the Europa Cup with Tottenham. The reason he moved to Tottenham, Everton somehow managed to find himself relegated. If we have a look at the next player that has similar stats that match Alan Shearer's, it is Oliver Giroud. He has 22 goals in 43 appearances with a 7.11 rating. He has moved to Atletico Madrid. He is 33 years of age now, so he's not really the type of player you want to be buying and building into your next Alan Shearer. Although if we have a quick look over the stats suggest he is that type of striker as well. But we won't go into too much detail about that, and we'll move on to the next striker in the list. We have Rui Pedro, who has appeared before on this series when I was looking for the next Ronaldo. He is 22 years of age, and we have a player worth 28.5 million and in 61,000 a week. And his overall club stats, we have 39 appearances, 20 goals, 5 assists and a 7.12 rating. And his actual attributes, we're looking at a player with finishing of 15, heading of 15, penalty taken at 16, technique at 16, off the ball is at 15, determination is at 15, aggression is only at 11, but he has high anticipation, and strength and stamina at 15 and 14. So if you were going to look for an unknown player who you want to build into the next Alan Shearer, I think Rui Pedro would be a good shout. And then we will check Raul Jimenez at 19 goals for this season after 37 appearances. He is 29 years old, and his overall club stats are 37 appearances, 19 goals, 5 assists and 7.15 average rating. He's moved to Zenit St. Petersburg, and we can look at his stats: 17 finishing, heading of 15, penalty taken of 15, technique of 14, Off the ball is at 16. Aggression isn't that high, but anticipation is. Determination at 16. 15 stamina and 13 strength. So I'd say he's probably the weakest one in this save compared to Alan Shearer, but he's not too bad a shout if you're looking for someone slightly cheaper, considering he's worth 15.75 million. So let's go to the next save and see if we have any different names pop up, or if any of the same names pop up. So here's a short list I made earlier, and as we can see, one name jumps off the page with 30 goals in a season, 7.22 rating, and that is Fabian Klos. He's 33 years old by this point in the game, which is 24th of May 2021. So in 2015, probably looking at someone around the age of 27. He hasn't achieved much in his career, but his stats are finishing of 16, penalty taken of 15, technique is at 11, off the ball is 14, aggression is 15, determination at 17, strength and stamina 14 each. So to be honest, it's not too promising, and it's again not someone you're really going to look to bring into your side. The next one down is Stip Perica. Again, apologise if I've said that wrong. He's scored 21 goals in 47 appearances with 7 assists, and he's managed to win the Sky Bet Championship with Burnley. His finishing is at 15, his heading is at 15, his technique is at 13, penalty taking is only 10, aggression is at 15 though, determination at 15, off the ball 15, strength at 16, and stamina at 13. So 25 years old this far into the game. He's still very cheap, so he's maybe someone you could buy for a lower league team, but I doubt it's someone who would be scoring a mountain of goals in the Premier League. Then we have a very familiar name with 19 goals in 51 appearances, and that is Harry Kane. He is still at Tottenham. He has managed to win the World Cup with England, the European Cup or the Europa Cup with Tottenham, and the Capital One Cup with Tottenham. So he's won a few things in his career. He's English, which of course will endear him to the English faithful. He's valued at 34 million and is earning £200,000 a week. His attributes are as follows: finishing of 16, heading of 17, penalty taken is only 11, but his technique is 16, aggression is low, but his determination is at 16, anticipation 15, off the ball is at 16, strength and stamina 16 and 17. So, along with Romelu Lukaku, you're probably looking at the best Alan Shearer-like striker that you can find in the game. Why he isn't in the other save, I do not know. Maybe he's just developed better in this one. And I don't think Romelu Lukaku has made it into this shortlist on this save, which he hasn't. So again, a lot of this is how they develop. So let's go to the next save and see if any names pop up again, or if there are any new names to add in our search for the next Alan Shearer. And believe it or not, in 10 years time, the pickings are slim, at least for strikers that you can buy at the start of the game. I found plenty of regens that had stats similar to Alan Shearer, but I don't really want to highlight them because regens are going to change for every game. So we've only got a short list of 3 when we move on to 2026. And the person at the top of that list is Davy Selke, and he was in the shortlist in the second save that we looked at. He is 31 years old in 2026, and he hasn't really won anything since 2017. He's not valued at that much, but he has got to the age of 31, and his stats unfortunately are pretty bad. Finishing is at 14, an Alan Shearer-like player should have better finishing. Heading's only at 12, penalty taken at 13, technique is at 11, aggression is at 18, which is good, determination 15, off the ball 15, strength 17, stamina 14. So nothing to shout home about, unfortunately. So if you want to know who the strikers are that I think are most likely to turn into the next Alan Shearer for you, I think it has to be one of these 3. If you can afford Romelu Lukaku, then I think you should definitely try and bring him in. He looks like he can develop really well and has stats that are very similar to what I imagine Alan Shearer's would have been like in his prime. I think you have to consider Rui Pedro as well. He's not only featured in this series as a potential Alan Shearer replacement, but he's also appeared in the next Ronaldo R9 version. So I think you definitely have to consider picking him up now, because that's 2 legendary strikers that I've searched for, and he's appeared twice. So if you can get your hands on him, it looks like you can definitely make him into something great. And then finally, I think you have to consider Harry Kane Again, very much like Romelu Lukaku, his stats very similar to what I imagine Alan Shearer's would be like in his prime. On top of that, he's also English and is very adept at playing different types of striker in different types of roles and duties. So I would definitely consider picking up Harry Kane again if you can afford it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure if you're new to subscribe to FM Scout to see more videos like this. We have plenty of content creators making different types of Football Manager experiments and tutorials. I've been JNO. It's been a pleasure to have you along for this experiment, and I'll catch you all next time.